Check, 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 check one.
Come, whoever you are, whether you are joining us online or in person, whenever the last time you went to church, whomever you love.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Cheyenne, where we are building a community of refuge, where all have equal worth and are invited into spiritual exploration as a foundation for hope, compassionate service, and action.
This is a place where questions are encouraged.
This is a place with room for all of who you are.
This is a place full of works in progress.
This is a place for being human together.
Welcome. It is good to be here.
Settle in and exhale. This is a time for community.
And good morning, everybody. I'm Mike Lammers. I'm a member of the Committee on Shared Ministry, also work with Pastoral Care. And I'd like to welcome you to this church where we're on this shared journey to find meaning, connection, and community together. One way we do this is through the activities and events that happen in our building and in the community beyond our walls. And let me tell you about a few of those that are happening today. Don't forget, the annual meeting is after church service today. So if you need a quick cup of coffee or a snack, that's okay. We honor your body's needs. Be efficient and come back into this space so that we can move ahead into our meeting. Have you registered for the service auction online? That's coming up pretty soon. Have you gotten your tickets for the live dinner and fun for June the 10th? That's the date to keep in mind. If not, talk to Abby Kircher or any of our helpers who are going to wave their hands to let you know they can help you out, if you will. This is also your 2-week warning that on January the 4th, we'll be hosting our Flower Communion. And this is the 100-year anniversary of this celebration. It started in the Czech Republic in a small Unitarian church in Prague in 1923. We are asking that you bring a flower to share in worship and a book to share in our little free library, which will also be planted on June the 4th. So keep that date in mind also. We also have our drum circles, and they meet the last Friday of every month. And this Friday, of course, being the last Friday in May 26th, will be another one. And it is from 7 to 9 p.m. here at the church. So it's a fun thing to come and take part in there. We gather both in person and on Zoom as a congregation. It's here that we gather our resources to sustain the work of this church and share our abundance with community organizations to sustain the work of the church and our community. You can find the address of the Realm app for giving online in your order of service, or your Share the Plate offerings and pledges may also be dropped into the baskets now as they pass or at the rear of the sanctuary at the end of the service. Also, there is another little basket there on the back of your pews. You have some note cards. If you have a prayer request, joys, concerns, you can write those down and then put them in the small square basket there, a rectangular basket, as it comes around as well. If you do not want your name or anything, you can just leave it anonymous there. Our Share the Plate partner for this month of May, is Bethel Outreach Ministries. Please welcome the words of our president of this group, Patrick, who is going to come and tell us a little bit more about this fine organization.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to come and speak with you today about Bethel Outreach Ministries. It started in 1997 here in Laramie County, or in Cheyenne specifically, and we're here to help people that have been incarcerated. Wyoming, unfortunately, we're number one in the country for incarceration per capita, 842 per 100,000 people. Compared to the rest of the US, it's about 644 per 100,000. And the recidivism rate is about 44%, meaning about 44% of the people go back to jail. So that's why we're here, to try to help them get reacclimated to, back in society and being productive. Once we go to jail, we get sentenced, we serve our time, and then when they get out, society kind of gives them another sentence and says, gosh, we're not going to give you that job, or we're not going to give you that apartment because of that felony on there. So we help people with finding housing, finding work, the basic things, food, clothing, and shelter. We also provide cell phones so they can find those jobs. We help them get their driver's license and other legal documents just to help them get back on their feet and productive. A couple of different ways that you can help with Bethel is obviously 60% of our funding comes from private donors. United Way gives us money as well. But we're also looking for volunteers. So if anybody would like to volunteer and help these folks, it is really kind of rewarding. I'll just do one quick story. His name is Fish, and he served 32 years at the state penitentiary. Originally from Cheyenne. I picked him up and I just gave him a quick tour around Cheyenne. And obviously Cheyenne's changed a little bit in 32 years. But it was just a different perspective to see. And he's one of our success stories. He started his own business. He bought himself a trailer. He is working. He's productive. Great guy. And one more thing, taking him to the grocery store for the first time. That was interesting. Just how frugal he was, but how much stuff he got. He learned a lot of stuff there. But anyway, I do appreciate the time and just would appreciate any giving that you would give today. Thank you.
Enough, they're strong enough, and I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. I know that my arms are long enough, they're long enough, and I'm good with power. My arms are long enough to give love. I know that my heart is wide, every hour is wide enough, I'm good with power. My heart is wide enough to give love. I know that my light is bright, every hour is bright enough, I'm good with power. My light is bright enough to give love. And my heart is strong enough to give love. My arms are strong enough to give love. My hands are strong enough to give love. Uh-oh.
Thank you. Our offering is gratefully received. Often, People say that they love coming to a place with so many like-minded people. I know just what they're getting at, and I know that they aren't getting it quite right.
I don't want to be with a bunch of people who think just like me. I want to be in a beloved community where I don't have to think like everyone else to be loved. I'm not going to read that part.
Okay.
I didn't agree with it, so I'm not going to read it.
Feels really in the
It's a
spirit
very
of this
you
meeting,
thing.
honestly. I want to be with people who value compassion and love and justice and truth, though they have different thoughts and opinions about all sorts of things. I want to be with independent-minded people of good heart. I want to be with people who have many names and no name at all for God.
I want to be with people who see me, in me, my goodness and dignity, who also see my failings and foibles and who still love me. I want to be with people who feel their interconnection with all existence and let it guide their footfalls upon the earth. I want to be with people who see life as a paradox and don't always rush to resolve it. I want to be with people who are willing to walk the tightrope that is life and who will hold my hand as I walk mine.
I want to be with people who let church call them into a different way of being in the world. I want to be with people who support, encourage, and even challenge each other to higher and more ethical living.
I want to be with people who inspire one another to follow the call of the Spirit. I want to be with people who covenant to be honest, engaged, and kind, who strive to keep their promises and hold me to the promises I make.
I want to be with people who give of themselves, who share their hearts and minds and gifts. I want to be with people who know that human community is often warm and generous, sometimes challenging, and almost always a grand adventure.
In short, we want to be with people like you.
So for our opening hymn,
I invite you to open your gray hymnals, rise in body or in spirit, and join us in singing hymn number 318, We Would Be One. And we appreciate Camille being here this morning as our guest pianist, and thank you for being here, Camille. So let's give her a good support by singing really loud. How's that? is the hour, the time has come. Mindful of our responsibilities as leaders of this faith and guardians of the living tradition, we call upon that great cloud of witnesses, those who came before, those who are here now, and those who have yet to come. We seek their presence, love, and support in this place at this hour. We kindle this flame to light their path and call them near as we undertake this sacred work. Thank you. So do we have some young at heart that want to come forward and help us do the covenant? Okay, I got one. Anybody else? Was Abby, were you coming up as one of the kids?
Whole person in this whole space.
For me.
Okay.
All right.
I'm the only kid.
Maybe you're the only one who knows the covenant here.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Love
is the spirit of this church, and service its cause. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth, and to help others.
Okay.
All right. Well, today we are actually planning to play a game as part of our Time for All Ages. So I do, in fact, need a few youthful feeling people, at least 3 more of you to help Addie out here. All right, we've got Andy and Abby. Do I have one more brave person willing? Oh, thank you so much. All right. Well, in that case, we're going to start having some teams. So, the way today is going to go, I have a few balloons. Now you all are going to be so glad that you gave me a balloon arch for this, because we are going to make 2 teams. So I think we'll just go 1 and 2. And the way this works, all you have to do is get the balloon to the back of the room as fast as you can. Ready, teams? Go.
Come on, team, get up, let's roll.
Uh-oh, I don't think we know the rules here. You can't carry the balloon.
All right, team, let's spread out.
All right, let's try again. Ready? Go.
Spread out, let's go.
Oh. Uh-oh. We're still having trouble. We have to have the balloon go back and forth across both sides, or we're not following the rules.
Put it together, people. Get it together, everyone.
Always changing the rules. So this is kind of the point. It's no fun to play a game. In fact, it's kind of confusing and stressful to play a game if we don't all know the rules. Yeah? Yeah, a little bit. You do have differences of wind resistance as well. Yeah. So has anybody ever tried to play a game that they didn't know the rules? Yeah.
Every morning.
Yeah, right?
I play football every day.
Yeah, but with football, you can learn the rules. Yeah, when people don't know the rules or don't agree on the rules, or maybe someone adds a new rule all of a sudden when you thought you were doing the right thing, it's kind of stressful. It doesn't let everybody participate. It can be unbalancing.
Why not?
So, today we are about to have a congregational meeting after the service. And it's one of the things we do together as a congregation. But this is a playful way to make the point. It's important for us to be able to agree and disagree in love. And so, for that to happen, we all agree on the rules. That's why we covenant. That's why we have congregational meetings every single year, so that we can all decide how we're moving forward together. So, we're going to try this game one more time. One more time. And for this game, the only rules are we want all the balloons to end up at the back. We want to have fun. And we want as many people to participate as possible. Do we think we can do that? No speed points. The point is to have fun. Ready? Go. All right.
Keep it going.
Send it whichever way you want.
Everybody touch it. Everybody touch
That feels like a victory as a congregation. Well done, and thank you all. This also feels a little bit like how we talk about congregational meetings sometimes.
This is boring.
Thank you. All right, we are all set. Thank you all for doing that with a good spirit. It was much appreciated. And so, let us breathe and move into our time of shared prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and of love, each week we gather together to be with one another, to support each other, to be a comfort in hard times, to uplift one another in times of celebration with the joy and excitement of our lives, to dwell together in the wonder and mystery of this magnificent and ever-changing life. So let us breathe. Let us hold one another in our kind care. Today we uplift Pris Golden, who is home from surgery and slowly recovering. She continues to appreciate short visits or phone calls, and so many blessings on her healing. We offer joy and support to Carol Bowles, who is retired officially. Yay! And we offer our further joy as Emma Smith and Ash Kircher both graduate from high school this Friday. Many congratulations and so many good wishes go to them and to their entire families, who we know have been a part of their thriving. And we offer our care for the many in the wider world dealing with struggles of all kinds. For trans people in many states considering leaving their homes because of hatred and prejudice directed their way, because of lack of care for their children's lives. Let us offer our kind care. And for all those facing transitions with courage, all those holding tender and new beginnings, all those who are not yet ready to celebrate new things coming. Let us hold them as well. And let us hold with joy the sunshine and the approaching warmth as the summer comes into being slowly through springtime, with the greening of the grass and blooming of flowers, the blossoms that surround us, and the ever-changing earth. Let us hold room in our hearts for all of those joys and griefs unshared today. And may we find in this space peace and comfort and community that enfolds us. Amen. And blessed be. And now, if you'll sing with me, hymn number 123, Spirit of Life, we'll remain seated in this meditative hymn.
Today's reading is called Long Haul People by Rudy Nimser. You'll find them in churches when you're lucky, other places too, though I mostly know only ecclesiastical varieties. Long haul people upon whose shoulders and pocketbooks and casseroles and daylight and nighttime hours a church is built and maintained after the brass is tarnished and cushions need restitching. They pay their pledges in full and on time, even when the music's modern. Support each canvas, though sermons aren't always short. Mow lawns and come to suppers, teach Sunday school when there's no one else, and they'll miss the service. Ask what they think of the minister, or plans for the kitchen renovation, or the choral anthem, or Christmas pageant, or the color of the bathroom paint. They'll reply, individuals and fashions arrive and pass. The church, their church, will be here, sturdy and hale, for a long, long time. It will, for long haul people, bless a church with every special blessing.
So that's you, I hope. The long haul people who make it happen. Long ago, Confucius wrote, "If there is righteousness in the heart, there will be beauty in the character. If there is beauty in the character, there will be harmony in the home. If there is harmony in the home, there will be order in the nations. When there is order in the nations, there will be peace in the world." About 500 or 600 years before the Common Era, Confucius wrote that as he was attempting to create and teach social norms to what would become China. He wanted to help people behave toward one another with respect and honor, generosity and kindness, not too different from what many religious teachers through the ages have sought to do. He wanted everyone to know the rules of the game so that everyone could have a good time together. If they knew one another's social locations, you could offer respect to someone who was an elder or of a higher social rank. You could offer kindness toward those younger or less well off, and a duty of care toward those who might be in greater need. He believed once people had these basic rules of the game, they would create order from the personal to the societal to the world that would spread. For over 2,000 years, these principles brought together a strong core of social commonality across Han Dynasty China, though those of minority groups sometimes found themselves outside the bounds of this social philosophy. But a goal had been set for a society in which care was happening according to common rules for the benefit of the whole. We fast forward just a bit, and we find Jesus attempting to create religious reform in rather the opposite direction, reacting to a system that had become bound in the details of practice, to the extent that they were sometimes following rules while missing the spirit. So Jesus' reform said, "Love thy neighbors as thyself," and implied the rest is details. You'll get there. But for both Confucius and Jesus, the point of the teaching was to admonish those missing the mark in a gentle way and to teach them to come back to the core question: what makes us humane? What makes us kind? What makes us humans who are spiritually fulfilled and offer enough space for thriving to one another, to everyone around us? Well, we come forward another couple thousand years, and James Luther Adams is a theologian teaching in the 1950s, and in Unitarianism said of his ministry, church. Church is the place where you get to practice what it means to be human. And so here we are. Instead of being a place that tells you what you must believe, this UU Church is a place where we come with our own stories and backgrounds and then make choices, finding a common way forward through discerning what it means to act upon our values together. So before I became a seminarian and then a minister, I was a worker owner of an anarchist cafe and bookstore. And you'll be interested to know that we had about the same kinds of questions and problems there as we do in church. Things like, what if people don't act right in the space? What do we say to them? How do we have conflicts in love? What if somebody takes something that we needed? What do we do about theft if we don't want to just call the cops on people? What do we do when we believe in redemption, but we don't want to have people who are drunk or high or aggressive in the space? Any of those questions ever come up in a church setting? I think so. I've sure heard them. One of the things we came up with was something called the year and a day protocol. We decided it was worth it to us to say we always believe that you can be better. We always believe that you can be better. The maximum amount of time that we will ever ban you from this space is 1 year and a day. And then you can try again. You come into this space drunk, I'm gonna say, hey, you can do anything you like with substances, but you have to be sober inside these walls. Do you want to try again tomorrow? If that person got belligerent, I'd say, hey, you need to come to a space meeting on a Saturday. We need to have a chat about appropriate behavior here before you're allowed to come back. As soon as we have a conversation, we would love to see you again. Sounds a little like church. We stay in conversation. This, foundationally, is the same work that we're talking about when we say we're a covenantal faith. We've made agreements together. We've decided we have a common purpose. And if people are doing things that put each other at risk or that don't allow us to move forward on our mission or with our common purpose, then we need to have a conversation so that we can move forward. Everyone deserves a chance, but everyone also deserves a space with good and solid boundaries around what safe enough behavior looks like. And so here we are, and we're dealing with details. What kind of budget are we going to move forward with? What do our bylaws look like? Who is going to lead us in this next year or 2 or 3? And it matters, not the details. It matters because how we make choices, where we want to put money, who we want to ask to be visible among us as leaders of the congregation, tells each other and new folks and our wider community who we are and what we believe in. And so when we say, love is the spirit of this church, who we ask to live out that love visibly as leaders matters. It matters how we are together. And if we ever decided that love was not the spirit of this church, or service perhaps not our cause, we could reword that, reframe it. This is why we gather, so that we can make choices. Now, I'm not sure you're going to say, love isn't the spirit of this church. That's silly. But maybe instead of searching for truth, you might want to search for deeper meaning. Maybe you want to add words about generosity. Maybe a community of refuge isn't quite the wording you always hope for. And all of these things are part of how we gather. They're part of why we have annual meetings, why we have votes, how we interact with our board. Because we are a church on congregationality. Through the Cambridge Platform in 1648, we asserted that, as Jesus said, where 2 or 3 are gathered, here is the church. They said, yes, but how? And they began assigning roles. Preachers, teachers, leaders, people to hold ritual roles, people to engage in governance. And they built a web and a network that reached out far beyond the Massachusetts Bay Colony, here to Wyoming, and overseas into Canada, Mexico, the Philippines, even Japan and India, and reconnecting with roots in what is now modern-day Romania and Hungary. And so here we are. And our last revision of our mission was in 2020, and we'll probably review and revise that again in another year or two, just to make sure that what we all believe, how we choose to live out our goals together, is always through a process of conversation. Because the way we do all of this work, the way we become better together, is when we find our way back to one another when there's conflict or difference, the way we choose to listen deeply, to build with courage, to offer generosity and support each other in our struggles, to celebrate our joys as one. And it's hard sometimes. Sometimes when we're in conflict, we have to hear deeply the ways we may have disappointed one another, or if there's lingering hurt. I remember back at the anarchist bookstore and cafe, a guy came in to a space meeting after he'd thrown a rock through our door and broken the window. He was mad about some political differences that we had had. He felt that we hadn't treated him with respect. There was anger and hurt on both sides. And we sure didn't want to call the cops on anybody. We said, hey, it's dangerous to throw things at our space. If you break glass, people can get hurt. And if you cause enough damage, the space shuts down, and then it doesn't matter so much whether or not we treat you with respect. Nobody gets to be here anymore. And he heard that. And he said, you know, I wasn't thinking about it. And so often, that's all that's happening. We haven't thought about how our words might land, how our actions might impact someone else, and smash, something goes crash. And it's not okay and it's dangerous, but it's not irreplaceable or irreparable. And so we come back together. We said sorry. He said sorry. We said, we're not real comfortable with you being in this space. Can you take at least 2 months off? And he said, yeah, that seems fair. And then we got back to it, still doing the work of building community, a little bit at a time. Here in this congregation, I'm sure, I know there are similar stories. People who have left, some people who have come back, some people who maybe haven't ever felt ready. But together, we choose to make a space that can be hospitable for one another and for the wider world, one that's ready to reach out and do bigger work together. Because church isn't just the place where we each sit alone in a pew, becoming an independently better person. We come to church, we give to church, because sometimes it's the week that you aren't here, but someone comes in hurting and needing support, and your past involvement means that today we can help. Someone who couldn't buy groceries this week, feeling like a failure, or someone dropping by considering a career change, wanting some company in that wondering. Someone who read a book and is excited to discuss it. Someone who needs a quiet place to be in silence. All those things are possible here because of many years of work from you and those before you, many years yet to come, with those who may not even be here yet, or those who are joining us for a first or second or third time today. That network of everyone in a shared space that is outside of transactional relationships, where we are simply generous with one another. That's church. So I urge you, don't get lost in the details at our congregational meeting, but remember that those details add up to the work of church, the work of this community being committed to one another, to creating the best congregation we can, knowing that it shapes lives and binds us together and keeps this building running and keeps this people moving out in the world and keeps us all nourished to create the beloved community in this place for which we are all responsible, because we together are the church. So now I invite you to join in song and in dance. We'll be singing our closing hymn, number 212, We Are Dancing Sarah's Circle. If you feel that binary language is hard for you or those around you, I invite you to sing siblings kindred all instead of brothers sisters all as that last line. And we will sing verses 1 and 2 and 4.
And we're going to extinguish the chalice. And if you look on the inside of your order of service, you can join in the words to help extinguish it. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry within our hearts until we are together again.
So as we close our sacred time today, let us choose to hold hope close, to share our path and make it passable for all, to bring our love and our imagination, and to dance and live and find joy and play as a people. And may it be made so by our work together. Blessed be. Yes. And I believe that you all have bodies. If you need to attend to your body and its needs very quickly, I encourage you to do so and then come right back.